Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking you through the cooking component that's included in Survival Game Kit V2. The cooking component allows you to convert one item into another using a actor in the world. So I can quickly show you the interface and how that works. So I'm just going to pick up some raw meat and some wood, and we can just place the wood in the fuel slots, and we can either place the raw meat in our convert slot or in our storage. When we hit turn on, it will automatically grab it out of our storage to start converting it. And as you can see, it will slowly start cooking that item, and once it's done, it will add it to the storage item, and if there's any more items to cook, it will grab the next one. You can also turn it on and off, and we have a little effect that can be played. You can change the effects depending on your mesh or what you need, and you can see we've got our cooked meat here. Next, I'm going to quickly show you how you can add your own cooking recipes. So to do that, we're going to go to the blueprints folder, then items. We're going to find the cooking list, and we'll open this up. And in here, you can click the plus button. We can name our new cooking recipe. So you could we can call it cooked apple, for an example. So the starting item would be the item that the player puts in to be cooked. So for us, we'd probably pick the apple. The starting amount is the amount that needs to be put in to be cooked. So we can set this to 1. Next, we need the cooking time. So this is how long it will take the apple to cook. So I can set this to 5 seconds. It's in seconds, by the way. Return items is the items that will be given back to us once the item's cooked. So you can press the plus button here, and you can actually have multiple items returned. So you just click the plus button again to add another one. And in here, you can just go to the item. The data table needs to be the master item list. And in here, you can select any of the items that are included in the system, and you can set the amount that will be returned as well. So if you wanted multiple items, you can do that. So the last thing is the cooking type. So you may have certain recipes that can only be cooked in, say, a campfire, and certain recipes that can only be cooked in a furnace. So our iron bars here, I believe, are set to furnace, which means only iron can only be smelted in the furnace, and cooked meat can be done in the campfire or the furnace. So you can add in whichever one you want down here. And to set a cooking component's cook type, I can show you quickly. We can select the blueprint, go to the cooking component, and in here we can search for cooking, and you can find our cooking settings here. So we've got our cooking type set to furnace because we're selecting the furnace. We've also got the number of cooking slots, so that's the number of slots that can be cooking at once. Then as far as the inventory, it uses the same inventory settings that any of the storage actors use. I can quickly go through those now. So we need to have container items ticked on, so we can put items in there. The container name is the name that we'll see in the UI. Container inventory cells, this is how many slots there are in the inventory. Quick note about that is if you plan on having fuel slots, so you can see I've got my fuel slot settings up here, you need to make sure that the container slots is always a greater number than the number of fuel slots and the number of cooking slots combined. Otherwise there won't be enough slots to sort of fill those. So you can set that. You can set the container columns. So this is how many slots wide the inventory will be. You can enable weight and set the maximum weight for the container. You can set container restrictions. So you can make it so items put in this list here are either the only items allowed or items that are not allowed, depending on what you select. Container type, you always want to keep this as container for cooking components. Allow container window isn't used here. Use item count limit allows you to basically limit how many items can go into the container, including items in a stack. You can't use custom grid layout with cooking components, so we can ignore that. And then you've got starting items if you wanted to add starting items to this. Scrolling back up, you can see we've got our fuel slots. If required fuel is true, we have to have fuel in the the cooking component for it to cook items. If it's false, then there won't be any fuel slots. Those will be ignored. They'll all just be storage slots instead, and you'll just be able to turn it on and off whenever you want. And then lastly, we've got fuel items, so you can set what items this cooking component uses as fuel. Quickly, if we click this little magnifying glass, that will take us to the master item list. Oh, we don't want the master item list, sorry, we want the item list, which is in the items folder. And in there, if you select any item, you'll see right down here there's a fuel time. This is the amount of time the item will burn for when it's being used as fuel. So if you want to increase that or decrease that, you can set that in here. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you found it useful, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment. Thank you for watching.